Hey, good morning. This is Cultivate Your Heart for Wednesday, August 14th. This morning, like many of you, I read the Bible reading plan that we've been working on, and it talked about 1 Corinthians chapter 9. And I'm just going to read a little bit, then we're going to talk a little bit about it. Starting in verse 3, so 1 Corinthians 9, verse 3, Paul writes this: "This is my answer to those who question my authority. Don't we have the right to live in your homes and share your meals? Don't we have the right to a believing wife with us, as the other apostles and the Lord's brothers do, and as Peter does? Or is it only Barnabas and I that have to work to support ourselves? What soldier has to pay his own expenses? What farmer plants a vineyard and doesn't have the right to eat from some of its fruit? What shepherd cares for a flock of sheep and isn't allowed to drink some of the milk? Am I expressing a merely human opinion, or does the law say the same?" If we skip down a little bit, verse 11, "Since we have planted spiritual seed among you, aren't we entitled to a harvest of physical food and drink? If you support others who preach to you, shouldn't we have an even greater right to be supported? But we've never used that right. We would rather put up with anything than be an obstacle to the good news about Christ." So here's what Paul is saying. Paul is saying that as an apostle, as the person who has shared the gospel with the people in Corinth in particular, as people who have shared the gospel to the people in Corinth, like that entitles him to certain things. Like he thinks he's operating from the position that they owe him certain things. They owe him food and drink. They owe him the right to travel with a believing wife. Like he has worked for them and they owe him things. But then Paul, again, at the end of that, he says, we have the right to these things and you owe us these things, but we've never demanded them of you. I was kind of thinking about this. Like sometimes it's really nice. We really like it when people give us approval and affirmation. We love it when people tell us that we've done a good job at something, especially when we've worked for them, especially when we've demonstrated that we love them and we care for them. What we want in return is we want them to tell us, "Hey, great job. Hey, thanks for doing this. Thanks for saying that. I appreciate you. I understand the work that you've gone into." Like we desire that. And in a lot of ways, like we are owed those things. That's what Paul is saying. When we do a work for someone, we are owed their approval and their affirmation. Paul knows that. But what Paul says is, I've never demanded that. I've never required you to affirm me. I've never required you to show me your approval. I've never required you to appreciate me. So this is one of the ways that we cultivate our hearts, is we do things for people without an expectation that they are going to affirm us. We do things for people without the expectation that they are going to give us their approval. We do things for people in ways that we are not going to demand their appreciation of us. But at the same time, in Romans chapter 13, Paul talks about giving honor to those whom honor is due. So while we do not have the right to receive affirmation, we do not have the right to receive approval, we do not have the right to demand that we are appreciated, we are called to give approval. We are called to give affirmation. We are called to give appreciation. Those things can coexist. I don't have to demand that others approve of me or show me appreciation or give me affirmation. But as a follower of Christ, as someone who is cultivating my heart, I'm sort of required to give approval when appropriate, and affirmation when appropriate, and appreciation when appropriate. And I think that's how we can cultivate our hearts. by not demanding what we are quote unquote owed from other people, but certainly giving what others are owed. That's my thought for you today, that you would cultivate your heart by demonstrating appreciation, by demonstrating affirmation, by demonstrating approval and giving that of other people when they are owed it, but not demanding the same when you are owed. That is a cultivated heart. I hope you have a super Wednesday, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.